Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. And I love that song because we who believe in freedom cannot rest till freedom comes. Wow. So I don't think we've had a lot of rest lately. So, anyway, it's Monday. Sun is shining here, and I love Mondays. It's a great day of the week. I was self-employed over 25 years, so Monday and Friday are good days for me. So welcome to the Mother's Justice Show. I want to bring my guest on right now because I think they got a lot to talk about. Yes, Mr. Eddie Rye and attorney Jesse Wineberry. Long time people doing work in this community for a long time. So we want our guests to hop to it. I hear you got a lot of good news here, so we need some good news.
Yes, we do have good news.
All right. Go ahead and tell us about it.
Well, first of all, before we go to Attorney Jesse Wineberry, I spent, from Wednesday through Sunday at the Congressional Black Caucus, the annual legislative conference. Very productive, very upbeat, especially with Kamala Harris being the nominee. So the mood was really upbeat, but there was also a very serious aspect of the meeting about making sure that we did what we had to do to get the people to the polls, to make sure they vote, they don't take anything for granted. And we want to make sure that people focus on from the bottom of the ticket to the top.
That's
because
right.
you see what's happening in states, what happens at the school board makes a difference, what happens to the city council, county council, or the state legislators, legislation always make a difference.
Right.
So to have the control of the United States House of Representatives, the United States Senate is very important, but it's also important that we have those same values reflected with our local elected officials who will be doing the good work to make sure that we all succeed. And like candidate Harris says, not only just to get by, but also to get ahead. And matter of fact, I'm up at Bird Bar Place, formerly known as Camp, with former Kane County Council member Larry Gossett, who also was executive director of the Central Rate Motivation Program. They're having a big event October 5th. And we're up here, just had a meeting with them about helping them organize for that. But one of the most inspiring things that happened last Friday, which was the Washington State Commission on African American Affairs, the commission voted unanimously to support the work of former representative and attorney Jesse Wineberry and Shalice Seacrest, the NAACP, with the executive order. So his news is better than mine, because it seems like we finally are going to have some action to make African descendants of the United States enslaved in Washington State whole again. And it was interesting to hear how Representative Wineberry and Representative Gary Locke handed out checks to Japanese Americans who were interned in concentration camps. They did receive their reparations. So Attorney Wineberry has a lot more to say than I do. He was one of the authors of the executive order. So Reverend Harriet, I think it'd be a good time for him to come on.
All right. Well, I'll let him come on just 1 second here, because while other people got reparations, people like me and Mr. Branch, we got our business taken away from us. And all the other Black people who ran out of business in this state, and I'm one of them. So, yeah. So, hey, come on, former Representative Jesse Weinberg. Come on and tell us about what's going on.
Well, thank you, Mother Justice, and thank you, Eddie. Thank you for having me as a guest today. And I'll just say at the outset, Mother Justice, if there's a claim that we can make individually for you, you have my number. We may need to take yours to court and not wait on the reparations. But for those who are wondering about reparations, let me say three things right now. Number one. Reparations is about to happen. Number two, get ready. And number three, get your check. Number one, reparations is going to happen.
Wow.
Number two, get ready. And number three, to get your check. The reason I say that is because a lot of people think Friday the 13th is an unlucky day.
No, it's not. Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that came from, you know, everything, but it came from the same people who made everything black bad. Okay. The black cat is the unlucky cat. Okay. Chocolate cake is called devil's food cake. I mean, so you may say, well, what does that have to do with reparations? Well, it's because on Friday, September 13th, check your calendar. Last September 13th fell on a Friday.
Yes.
The Commission on African American Affairs held their quarterly meeting in Tri-Cities. For those who've never been to Tri-Cities, that's Pasco, Kennewick, and Richland.
I've been there. Mm-hmm.
And there aren't many of us there. But all we needed to be there last Friday was not the 9 members of the statewide Commission on African American Affairs, because they voted unanimously to direct Governor Inslee to create a commission to study slavery reparations for the nearly 400,000 African Americans who live and are citizens of Washington State. This was not just a lucky day, it was a glorious day. We are one of the few states in America to even have a commission on African American affairs. And let me explain what that means for those of you who have never even known that the commission exists.
Mm-hmm.
It is a commission that is specifically charged by the legislature with the duty, not the option, the duty to advise the governor, to advise the state legislature, to advise all state agencies on interests and issues that will uplift the African American community of Washington State, wherever they are. There are 7 million people in Washington State. There are only, according to the last census, less than 400,000 African Americans. But this body represents those 400,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the legislature is duty bound. The governor is duty bound. All state agencies are duty bound in that same statute to listen and abide by their advice.
Right.
And this body of young people and middle-aged and maybe 1 or 2 who would consider themselves senior citizens on that body reviewed all of the data,
Mm-hmm.
heard all of the testimony, and deliberated amongst themselves and voted unanimously to urge the governor to create a commission to study slavery reparations for descendants of slaves in Washington State. I know a little bit about that commission because 32 years ago, many of you who are here with us and within the receipt of my voice urged me to create a permanent lobbying entity in the government of Washington State, which was rare at that time. This didn't exist before, because they said, we don't know how long you'll be there, and we don't know how long we'll ever be able to send African Americans to represent us in the legislature. And even those we send can never just represent African Americans. They have to represent everybody in their district. We need
George Fleming was
permanently in place to speak for us. And I'm so glad we did it 32 years ago, because now God brings it full circle to them being the ones to now declare to the governor a need for a commission to study reparations. And so we made history, and it's because of many of you who have been in this fight for so many years. Obviously, that includes you, Reverend Walden, and also Eddie, but many others who have gone on since we started. I think we are finally going to get the freedom that we deserve, and that is compensation for the labor of our ancestors who lived, died, and labored without a penny. And now our goal is to make sure it comes back to those of us who are their heirs.
One of the things, this is so wonderful to hear this news, because I remember when George Fleming was in there, I was represented, and we used to go down, and it wasn't permanent then, but and some of the people on the other side of the aisle would say, "You people are down here again." They used to call us "you people,"
Right.
because Fabiola Woods and I, we would catch a train down there at the one time, and it's like, "You people."
Right.
And that's when we had more than 400,000 Black people in the state of Washington. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you people. And we went down several times, and, it talked about the fried chicken and the watermelon.
Yeah, Senator Fleming's big bash every year was packed because it was the only time they could eat chitlins.
Well, not until then either, but I mean, it's like, oh my God, but the respect we had then, it was nothing. I mean, I think this lady, she was from Spokane. Of course, she was a Republican. I think she was a senator. And she called us "you people." I think she must have been, one of the top senators, because she came to address us.
Right, Jeanette Hayner. Right,
You
Senator
people.
Jeanette
It's
Hayner.
like, you people, and we the people who've been here before the Civil War. It's like, okay. It's like, oh man, it was some huffy people in there that day, though. I mean, because I've been going down there a long time.
Yes, you have.
I've been going to Olympia a long time. Oh yeah, because I used to love to go on campus. I haven't been on campus for a while now, but it's something about going on campus, and I used to encourage people. A lot of the pastors and stuff, we go on campus, go down there. That's our place too, So
that's right. We pay for
it. We do pay for it. Well, you know what? I mean, could you have a little time to just talk about briefly how people who might not have been born here, but raised their families here, and they, African Americans, and been here before the Civil War. So how does that how does it work? Or we don't know how it's going to really work yet. So.
Well, that's why we want to create the commission to study not only the issue, the history,
right,
and the good news is that a number of people ask me, well, why there have been many efforts to get reparations for us, and they've all failed. So why should we believe this one is going to work? And I think it's in with your question, what is the process? And there's a few things that exist now that didn't exist before. Number one, when African Americans across the country in the past made a movement, if you will, for reparations, the first thing that members of Congress, mostly white members of Congress, would ask is, how much do we owe you? and all you get, and you get one African American group saying $1 figure, another African American group saying another dollar figure. They had never got that together because they didn't expect that somebody would ask, how much do we owe you? They'd say, well, for 400 years of labor. Okay, well, how much is that? Well, thank God for Dr. William Darity.
William Darity,
professor at Duke University, who got the funding to conduct a 5-year, half a decade study on what reparations would cost and how and what amounts it would be paid if the Congress were to vote in favor of it. And he has testified before Congress. So what I'm about to tell you, I'm told, is now a part of the congressional record.
Okay.
And his estimate was that it would cost the federal government between $13 and $14 trillion over time, and that based on 40 million African Americans who could, and this is important, who can prove their lineage to slaves who engaged in labor and died without ever being compensated, that each of those individuals would receive a minimum of $350,000 each. Not $350,000 per household or per family, $350,000 each. And so if there's a family of 4 African Americans and they can all prove and show their lineage to the slaves that gave the labor and died without any compensation, they could net $350,000 each. And a family of four, that's over $1 million a household. And you say, well, we didn't have that before. No, we had no one who had done an independent study to calculate what the present value of those wages would be. And what Dr. Darity did, he overcame what others had tried and didn't. Every time anybody else had tried it, they ended up getting roadblocked by the fact that there were never any wages paid to the African Americans, so you had no wage to base it on.
Right.
And what he found that shocked me was that many white people did those jobs because all whites could not afford slaves.
Right.
Only the wealthy ones could afford the slaves. The little guys, they actually had to pay other white people to pick cotton, to pick tobacco, to pick rice, and to do the chores that slaves did. And so using those wages and now calculating it from the 1800s all the way, if it were today, to 2024, and that's what nets out the $350,000 for every African American that can show their lineage to a victim of chattel slavery.
Well, how do you show your lineage?
Well, that's thank you for bringing me. I said there were a number of things that we didn't have before that we have now. Before, it would almost cost someone $350,000 to do the research. Well, that was before Ancestry.com. That was before Family Search. That was before 23andMe. And so technology has now entered in our favor to enable us to engage in this kind of research that before would take hiring a lot of people, going through months and years of digging through filings and archives and all kinds of research going back to the 1700s. Well, they've done that for everybody now. And so it's a lot easier to show your lineage. And a number of people have already begun the process, even though reparations is not final yet in this country. That's why I say after number one, it's going to happen. Number two, I said, get ready. And so if you haven't begun the process on some of these family search websites, one of them is called Family Search. As I said, Ancestry.com, 23andMe, now is the time to do it because you want to be ready. When the time comes, you don't want to be scrambling, pulling your stuff together. And the federal government, as it turns out, has always been available to help people research their lineage. But it's a lot more time consuming, a lot more costly. And so I say to people, use both. Use the online services that are now available that weren't 20 years ago, and maybe confirm that all of that is valid data by having someone at the federal government archives check it and make sure it's correct.
Well, one of the things that I've been doing is going back on death certificates, because if you can get the death certificates also, right. I mean, that's you can go back as far as you can on death certificates. And I know my great grandfather, my great great grandfather, my grandmother's father, he was born in bondage, and because his mother was a slave. So, but I haven't gone back to all that far back. But I know that it's possible to do death certificates, and a lot.
No,
of
you're right. Yeah, that's why I say don't trust Ancestry.com and all of them 100%. Maybe get started there, but there's going to be some gaps, and the federal and state governments will help by providing those birth certificates, death certificates, like you're pointing out, so you can begin to connect whatever gaps you may discover in with Ancestry or 23andMe or Family Search.
But also, I have a family member down in Florida that absolutely has been doing this, and also that there's a museum in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm gonna try to remember on it, but it's supposed to have the manifolds that have a lot of the documents right there in that place also. But like you say, just having the time to go there and right. And that kind of thing. And that's what my cousin has been doing. Jocelyn Ford down in Florida, she's a Walden, and she was able to go all the way back to 1764.
Oh,
The Waldens came here, 70, and we're related to the Waldens in Britain. I mean, in England, the Walden University. Two brothers
okay,
came, so
right.
I got the lineage on my Walden side. And they came inside something in Georgia, Augusta, Georgia, and at that place also the mother, the the matriarch of the Walden line from that plantation there is also the matriarch of the Robinson. So that means Jackie Robinson is also related to us.
Wow.
So
Okay.
she's been going back all the way to 1764. I mean, two brothers came. One came first, and then the other one came, and they're related to, like I say, these Waldens that started Walden University. They're in England, so that's the European side.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying to some people that I mean, it's exciting to be working on this effort. I do it on behalf of our organization, Washington Equity Now Alliance. We have fought and succeeded in keeping affirmative action in Washington State. We fought and succeeded in making sure over 1,000 state employees have been trained to overcome the most recent Supreme Court decision, bringing a sledgehammer to affirmative action in college admissions. And so this is the issue that was brought to us by the local chapter of local branch of the NAACP, because it is a statewide issue. And so we've been working with the NAACP, the Washington State Democrats who endorsed it, over 1,000 people unanimously, the Democrats for Diversity and Inclusion. And we hope to mobilize many other organizations to be behind this effort, because we're just beginning this journey, and we want to make sure the governor does what the commission is directing him to do, that he does it before he leaves. And so we're encouraging everybody to go to our website. It's brand new, WAReparationsnow.org. Sign up, get involved, volunteer, make your voice heard, because we want to all be together when we are surrounding Jay Inslee in his final act as governor, when he hopefully signs the executive order creating this commission to study reparations.
Well, I hope he signs it. He gave us what, it's 1819 or 1918 that talked about the collusion to run African Americans out of the central area, back a few years ago. So I hope we can get that done. And you probably need another Democrat. You probably need somebody like him to follow him as governor.
That's right.
Because see, it ain't done yet.
That's right. The study will just be going, and now the study has to be done, and then they have to make recommendations to not only the legislature but also to Congress, right, once they complete their study. I want to say one other thing, Reverend, and that is the Washington Equity Now Alliance voted to name this commission the Charles Mitchell Commission to study reparations. And I know we all know Charles Mitchell, formerly chancellor of the Seattle Community Colleges.
Right.
This is a Charles Mitchell that actually got here before we all did.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And I don't know if you know the story. It's a 12-year-old. Yes. And he was
I don't know the 12-year-old. I know about the people getting to Canada. I mean, I don't know if he was part of that group or not that went to Canada.
Well, he was the leader, believe it or not. Charles Mitchell was 12 years old, and he was a slave in Olympia, of all places, the state, the capital. And he was sent on an errand by his slave master. And during that errand, he did run across the Blacks who were visiting from Canada. And they told him about freedom and told him, what he could do if he came with them. And this little boy went back, did not whisper a word to his masters, and left in the middle of the night with all that he owned, and got and stowed away on a ship to Canada in quest for his freedom at 12 years old. And once the slave master discovered he was gone, he was a wealthy guy, James Tilton. He actually filed suit in Canada to bring him back. Canada at the time they had abolished slavery, so it was a free state. And in Victoria, 25% of the people who lived in Victoria at that time were Black. mainly from California, who had gone there to achieve their freedom. And so when the slave master came and filed his lawsuit, there was a trial. And the slave master got on the stand. And when they asked him, why did he want to take this boy back to America? He said, because he's my property and I deserve to be able to take my property back with me. And when they asked little Charles to choose between going back with his family in America or remaining in Canada, that little boy chose freedom. He said, I want to stay here. And that's what decided the case, those two testimonies. And so we are naming this commission. We're asking the governor to name this commission in honor of Charles Mitchell. And our hope is that we show the same spirit and determination for freedom as we fight for reparations as he did when he fought for his freedom at 12 years old.
Do you know what year that was? I mean, was it before 1863 or after 1863?
He stole away in 1860, but I think he was there for a good while. And I will look up when the trial was and get back with you.
Okay, because 1863 is when Lincoln signed the paper. That's all I was trying to figure out what time, you know. So it was before Lincoln signed the paper.
Oh yeah, because had he gone back, he would have gone back as a slave. So it was 1860.
But Washington State didn't become a state. It was a territory then. Couldn't have been a state because it became a territory in 1889 is when it became. I think then what Washington State became a state in 1889, I believe.
Yeah,
so it was still a territory.
No, you're nailing it. Because
that's the year my grandmother was born, so that's why I got that history.
Okay. Well, right. I was giving you more credit until you told me that. But no, you nailed it. Right. We achieved statehood in 1889.
That's right.
And that's why this was when it was the Washington Territory.
That's right.
But the territorial, we had a territorial legislature.
Oh, okay.
We had people from the Washington and Oregon Territory that represented us in Congress. So just because we achieved statehood didn't give us any innocence from engaging in slavery and on the same soil with the same people who ultimately got their seal of statehood from the President of the United States in 1889.
And that was the Puget Sound Underground Railroad.
What do you say, Eddie? Was the Puget Sound Underground Railroad? That's what he said.
No, Eddie is nailing it too, because I'm going to tell you, I only knew about the East Coast Underground Railroad, led by Harriet Tubman. I didn't know we had an Underground Railroad, but that's what it was. And it was started by the folks, like I said, in California who migrated to Canada, and they were visiting Washington State when they saw this little boy. And they didn't go to his house and pack him up. They were nowhere near the courageous ones to do that on the property of the slave owner. But they told him if he showed up at a certain time that he could ride back with them. And when they got there, I think it was like 5 a.m, there was little Charles Mitchell with his little bag of stuff, and the rest is history.
That's a movie right there.
I know.
And they have there's a section in Vancouver there because A. Philip Randolph, President Gabriel Prowl, went up there for Juneteenth and spent time with the community. That was free people, Negroes at that time, free people up in Canada, there in Vancouver. This is wonderful. I mean, it's a lot of information. So I have you back on before along to talk up and talk some more about it. And also, we have to talk about the consciousness of people. I mean, because all this money cannot go back into the hands of the. I mean, if it comes reality, we got to also be talking about other things that goes along with wealth. That you don't put it back in the circulation of the people who harmed us. So that's
Harriet. Reverend. You almost, you got me too informal. You're nailing it again. I mean, one of the things that came up at the hearing was financial management. And would there be somebody on the commission that would be a subject matter expert on financial advising, financial investment, and financial management? And I agreed. I said, that's an excellent recommendation, because otherwise this could go right through us and
right back out like our dollar does. Now our dollar stays in that 1 hour or something like that. I'm just making that part up. I mean, it might not be true one day, and then all the other communities they stay 17 days and that type of stuff. But I grew up in segregation all my life, so I know that there's a way. I mean, I know what it is. I mean, I grew up in it from I was born in it, and I sung it, lift every voice and sing every day. I graduated from all Black and Negro school, and all my teachers was Negro, so I know it can be done. So anyway, that's just Mr. Rye wants to jump in.
I'd just like to know, what would the role of the Commission on African American Affairs be, Representative? Attorney Jesse Wineberry. What will the role of the commission be?
Well, as you know, one really, I think, creative idea came out of the hearing, and I had to plead guilty because I didn't think of it, and I should have been the first to think of it. They said, well, since you created us and we're permanent, why create another temporary commission when we can? Let's create the commission, but let's have us as a permanent commission for African Americans on all issues oversee that one.
Yes.
And I said, hey, that's
right. That's right.
That's a good idea. And I said, right. I said, that makes a lot of sense. They said, yeah, because we have the advantage here in Washington State of already having a commission that's dedicated to African Americans.
And been around for a generation. 32 years is a generation.
Exactly.
Not a decade.
So they said, so can we be the ones? And I said, hey, let's put it together. Whatever we're going to send now to the governor, let's make sure that structure is there. So when he signs the executive order, it becomes law. Nobody can challenge you when you are helping to manage this. And so I thought it was a brilliant suggestion, and I am all for it.
All right. Well, this has been a really good update. I'm happy to hear it. I mean, any progress. I mean, I know America, you give us one step forward and 10 steps backwards. I understand where we live at, but I mean, I'm hopeful, and we have to be hopeful. We're the descendants of the mighty people who made it through, so we have to be hopeful because we made it through. I mean, we're here. I mean, a lot of their descendants did not make it through, so we're the tree that they planted by the side of the river. And so we have to be hopeful. That's what I say. So anyway, Mr. Rye, you want to jump in before we end here? You got something else to say?
No, I just thankful that the commission voted unanimously. That was very encouraging. Even though I was in Washington, D.C., I got a chance to hear Attorney Jesse Wineberry make his presentation to the commission. I had a chance to have the chair of the commission, Reverend Walter Kendricks, and the vice chair, Joseph Todd, on Urban Forum last Thursday. And like I said, Friday they had the hearing, and it was very, very enlightened and very enthusiastic to hear Representative Wineberry's presentation. And when I found out later on they voted unanimously, 9-0, that was really encouraging, because a lot of people were kind of, they said, well, they haven't said a whole bunch about it, but by having everything laid out like Jesse Wineberry did, along with Attorney Shalice Seacrest, who is the area state conference coordinator for the NW, which is Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. When her and Representative Wineberry got together with Winona Hollins-Head, give her credit, one of the winter members, for meeting with the governor and working around the obstacles that one of the individuals in the governor's office was putting in front of them. But to have the commission stepping up really gives me a great deal of satisfaction, because it rightfully does belong to the Commission on African American Affairs. Just so happy that Attorney Wineberry put together an executive order that is flawless, and to have it now called the Charles Mitchell Commission, that represents a person that fled to Canada to get his freedom, who was brought out here from Maryland by slave owners. So everything is going full circle, very supportive, and I'm going to be working any way I can to ensure that it accomplishes what it's supposed to accomplish. And I think when people start hearing about the possibilities of $350,000 to $400,000 per Black person, African descendant, United States enslaved, not just anybody, but you got to be an African descendant. Like Barack Obama wouldn't qualify.
Nope.
Kamala Harris wouldn't qualify.
Would not qualify.
Nope.
But
yeah.
Kamala Harris's father's Jamaican and her mother's from India.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. So yeah,
But
so they've been qualified.
Barack
No,
and Michelle's children were qualified because of
Michelle
Michelle.
qualifies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
So that's what people need to get, get straight. Everybody,
But waiting
and
on
that's
the
what,
part.
right.
Yeah, well,
Well,
this is wonderful.
Reverend, can I say one other thing?
All right.
This is for that special group out there that have some of whom have contacted me, and don't worry that you're gonna hear from them too. They don't believe this is going to happen, and so what we've done, myself and another law clerk, we are developing a promissory note for people who don't believe that their $350,000 is coming, to sign that over to somebody else who does. And so,
All right.
we've
Yeah,
got something for everybody.
right. Yeah, we didn't get our break in here, but that's okay. Well, listen, this has been really good. I know I'm gonna have you back on to talk about this, and so thank you for coming on and updating us with a lot of information. And I'm one of those people who are, I mean, the mighty Africans. We're still African, although we've been here all these years. We still have the drums still beating in our soul. So I
No,
want to
thank
thank
you
you for
so
coming
much
on.
for your leadership and for giving us some time, and
Oh,
we will keep you up to date as we move forward.
all right, sounds good. All right, thank you. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. We're going to take a break. I'll be right back. Thank you so much for listening.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Did you know that with certain designs and construction techniques, you can completely eliminate the cost of heating and cooling your home each month? For some homeowners, that can represent a savings of $5,000 to $10,000 a year with no loss in comfort. Want to learn more? Be sure and listen to Designing and Building Your Dream Home with your host, KT, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. right here on 1150 KKNW.
Walking your talk? Take us with you. The KKNW app makes streaming our programming easy on your phone or tablet.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on there. You know, I love radio. I want to thank all our supporters who help keep us here. We've been on for 10 years now, going on 11 years. Wow. I want to talk a little different. We're changing the subject, because I want to talk a little bit about our breakfast and the mothers. And also, I want to give, before I get to that, I want to, Sherry Day, I was at, it's a mother's, she's on our board. She's been with mothers for a while now. I met her after the untimely death of John T. Williams. We all came together. She was at the American Friends at that time. And she, American Friends Service gave us technical assistance to help with mothers in those days. And Sherry was a person that worked with us. And we also worked with the John T. Williams Organizing Committee to bring justice for John T. Williams. And on some levels, we're still waiting for justice, because Ian Burke was able to quit the police department, and no charges was filed in that case at all. But I just wanted to mainly spend a couple minutes talking about Ramona Aldo, who was Mona's partner in love, been together for many, many years, over 38 years. She passed in the spirit yesterday. And Mona was born February 22nd, 1941. And of course, she passed yesterday, September 15. Mona was really a wonderful, wonderful spirit. She was a beloved partner, mother, grandmother, auntie, healer, the community maker, and a visionary. She was one of the Native Americans who was taken for her family and for her when she was 4 years old, and that's hard to overcome. But also, she was one of the founders of Mother Nation, and it's a group that's nonprofit that's dedicated to serving Native American women. It's a wonderful organization, and the one thing I can say about the Native community, how they really respect the elders. I've just been so impressed what it means to be an elder in a Native American community. And Lamona, we called her Mona, but her name is Ramona. She was so well respected. And one of the things she'd been involved with recovery for people who had, had alcohol and was looking for treatment. And she was a healer. She helped people have long-term sobriety. I mean, she was a demonstration of her life. I learned so much from Mona. My life is always so rich by the people I've met during my lifetime. I mean, it's like, they bring so much richness to your life. And Mona was generous. She was kind. She was resilient. She was a community builder. And she's going to be missed. And like I say, she was Yakima. She was from the Yakima Nation. It will probably be a public memorial for her here later on. But they're going to have a memorial for her next Saturday over in Yakima. And Ramona Otto, I mean, I bless you, Mona. I want the world to know that I loved you. As you move from this plane of existence to the other plane of existence on the other side of the veil, my life is so rich because I've known you, Mona, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Mona and to all the people that loved her so much, and especially Sherry Day, who was on our board for Mothers Police Accountability, and she's been with us for a while now, and so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for knowing these two fine women in my life. And like I say, my life is about gratitude, about service, and about kindness. And I felt that Mona was really a kind person. The world needs more kindness now. That's what the world needs more than ever. It needs kindness. And Mona was one of those people who absolutely brought that kindness, and she had lots of grandchildren, and her daughter passed away unexpectedly last year, and got lots of grandkids and great grandkids over in Yakima. She was, she has enough family to have her own village, and so I tip my hats off to Mona and to all the people over in Yakima, actually who love Mona, and all the people here who love Mona and across the country. Who she had, when you touch people's lives, it's like a little pebble that you put into the water and the wave goes out, a little ripple effect. And so Mona had a real ripple effect throughout the community, not only in the Native community, but also in other communities, especially with women, and that's just so beautiful. And like again, I'll just be a broken record, and I'll say it again. My life is richer because of Mona and all that I've learned from Mona. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and take another break here. And as we think about Mona and Ramona Otto and the Yakima family, thank you so much. We'll take a break right now. Just listen to Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. This is Ron Walden.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Blind? Low vision? Eyesight changing? You are not alone. Connecting with blind and low vision people can provide support and expand your understanding of what is possible. We are making our own choices every day, but we are also stronger together. To learn more, visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Some people know a good thing when they hear it. Alternative Talk 1150.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And as I just finished giving a really nice summary about talking about Ramona Otto and her life. And so I thank you for listening to that. I'm going to spend the rest of the time talking about Mother's Justice Breakfast and mothers. And on the end, I'm going to give a little shout out to the Salisbury Boys. And, yesterday was Sikandi's birthday. You know, Mother's been around now since 1990. So it's 34 years in September. Actually, this is September. We had our first meeting 34 years ago. After the police had, I beat my kids up. I roughed them up and arrested two of them out of the yard with two other boys. August 5th of 1990. They all grown now. I have grandkids, and people say, "Why you keep doing this?" Because we look for justice. Say we who believe in freedom, and justice cannot rest until it comes, and that's the legacy of the people who actually my ancestors spent 240 years being seasoned and working free, and another 100 years in Jim Crow. So anyway, it's a long story. But Mother's Justice Breakfast, it's a Thurgood Marshall Justice Breakfast, and it's going to be November 11th, two days after the election. So come out. Who knows? But we can be hopeful if everybody get out and do what they need to do. And that's going to be November 11th. Of course, this year, 2024, 79 at the Royal Esquire Club. I think that's 5016 Rainier Avenue South. And we're going to have a wonderful speaker. It's always wonderful, but it's also going to be cold. Let's not say it. Let's not think it's going to be July. It's going to be dark. That darkness will be coming around real soon here. We'll be able to see that. We'll be able to be in the dark, but come on out anyway. It's going to be cold because it's November. I doubt if we're going to have any more 85-degree days, and not in November. So put your coat on, come on, and have breakfast with us. Enjoy good speakers, our main fundraiser. And so be generous to us. It takes a lot of tenacity to run a volunteer organization for 34 years. As we move forward, one of the things we're looking forward to do is recruiting younger mothers and younger people with children, and be able to absolutely teach what it means to be an American citizen. Because so many of our young people wind up with felonies. In so many states, you can't get your rights back. I mean, we could talk about all the things that Jesse was talking about America, but actually, once you're not a citizen, you can't get a loan, you can't go to college. I mean, there's so many things you can't do that a felon having a charge of a felony. And Washington State, I think felons can get their rights back once they paid off all their debt and that type of thing. But in a lot of states, you cannot get your rights back. I mean, it's there forever. So because I follow a lot of places like in Memphis, a lot of places I follow just reading and the amount of young people who are absolutely doing things that's going to render their lives to almost be useless in some ways unless they can reclaim themselves and get the felony removed. I think it's really important for young people to understand the choices that they're making and the ramification of those choices and how it'll impact them when they're 35. They might be 18 now, but one day if they live long enough, they're going to be 35. And so this will help. We believe that education is always the one. That's what I was taught, that education is always the way. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. Because my grandmother said, once you get an education, can't nobody take it from you. They might not give you a job, but you can find something else to do. But you cannot, nobody can ever take your education from you. Once you learn something, once you learn it and you know it, as the kids say, when you're happy, when you know it, your face will surely show it. But once you learn something and know it, your life is different. Marcus Garvey said, intelligence rules the day, rural, and ignorance bears the burden. And that's what happens when you get a felony. It's like ignorance will bear the burden. And so that's what our new course is going to be. But back to our breakfast, we've had wonderful speakers every day, every year. And this year, it's going to be a wonderful speaker. And we're going to have a good breakfast. We're saving the date on that, so save it on your calendar. You'll get some information real soon about the breakfast, and it's still an affordable breakfast. Okay, it is an affordable breakfast. Come on out and support mothers, and thank you so much on that piece. Well, yesterday was a party at the Royal Esquire Club for Secundus Salisbury. That's my second oldest son. And tomorrow is his brother's birthday, September 17th. So the party was for Virgos. I'm not a Virgo, but I'm a mother of the Virgos. So I was there. We had a great party. And my other son showed up, the youngest, so Maya Salisbury. He's been on my show more than once. He's hosted my show more than once. And so have Secundus. Tundi Salisbury is the only one who's never been on my show because he's a master optician, so he helps people see with delivering and making eyeglasses for people, just like I was. I was an optician in 25 years delivering eyeglasses for homebound people and people in nursing homes and handicapped people, helping people see. So anyway, they were all together yesterday. And you know what a mother's delight is? A mother's delight is to have all her children together. Hiram was in spirit. Everybody know my Hiram is in spirit. Passed away in 2005. But just think about that. When you get to see all your children in one day, man, that's just special. Special. And I just want to give a big old shout out to the Salisbury boys. They're doing a lot of good things in this city and across the country. I'm sure you heard about Converge Media. That's Omai Salisbury there. They got an Emmy a few years ago. They produce all quality, high-class documentaries, and then they bring Black joy. They bring Black joy, and they do clapback because before that, sometimes when people say things about us, they couldn't get any word out because all of the papers come out in Seattle that has anything to do with us on Wednesdays. But that's all changed now. It's a different reality because of Converge Media. And then Secundus he's doing his Services of Lifestyle. 100 Black parents are doing a lot of things in the schools with kids. He takes the African American male weekend up to Capicala every May. And now he's involved with the Black Home Legacy, keeping African Americans in their homes, giving them information. In fact, they'll be meeting this coming Sunday, I believe, because really trying to keep people in their homes here in the central area and other parts of Seattle, that you can stand up and be a homeowner and keep your home. You can say no to these developers, and then you can know what to do about it. So those are the three boys, the Salisbury boys, and everybody asks me, and I always say yes. Hey, guess what? I'm the mother of all the Salisbury boys here in Seattle. So I want to give a shout out to my sons and all the good work they're doing, and not only here in Seattle, but across the globe for my. He's international with what he does. He spent all those years in East Africa. So anyway, and I just want to say, hey, happy birthday, you Virgos, and your mama loves you. You've been listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. I love being on there. I'll be talking to you again next week. Stay safe.